Hi guys, Billy back, and my timbers are well and truly shivering, which means I should probably go to the doctor's and get some cream for that. But while we wait for the doctor's surgery to open up on Monday morning for me to get rid of this burning itch in my trouser area, let's do an unboxing. Cue the music.
Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. You're our ability. Being a pirate is alright with me. Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Yo ho, ahoy in a blast. Being a pirate is really badass. I'm the black flag from the end of the blast. You are a pirate.
Okay, this figure just arrived from 16kit.com. I wasn't sure if I was going to buy this or not because at the time when it was first announced, I didn't really have the funds waiting or anything. So, you know, I decided to sit on it and see what the final product was before I actually bought one. Luckily, there was still a couple available from 16kit.com. So I went there and got this guy, and it's just arrived in less than 3 or 4 days. So that's pretty good. Okay, let's get to undoing this guy. We've managed to secure package it. It's come all the way from Hong Kong, I believe. Got some plastic wrapping on there, it's bubble wrap. Again, he's used these plastic protectors that he normally puts on here just to protect the edges of the box as well, so that's nice. Not so nice when you leave them on the floor though and then you step on them. Fucking ow! And there we have it, it's the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Edward Kenway figure by Damtoys. Now originally Hot Toys had a license for Assassin's Creed and they did an Ezio figure, and I believe that was probably about 2011 I think, but they never went too far with it. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know if Ezio sold well or not at the time. But Damtoys have decided to go all in. They've already announced 3 figures in the collection, and this is the first one to be released by them. So let's open this up, because once we have a look at this guy, we'll be able to tell what kind of figures they're going to make in the future. Okay, on the front we've obviously got a picture of Edward Kenway. I'm not entirely sure if this is the figure. I don't think it is. I believe it's probably from the promotional stuff from the game. Got the Assassin's Creed Black Flag logo, Damtoys, Abstergo and Ubisoft logos. This seems to have a little bit of a spot UV on the Assassin's Creed and Edward Kenway side. Let me turn it around. Same again on the side, just a simple logo. Some spot UV on there to try and make it all shiny and nice. Then on the back, yet again, the Assassin's Creed logo, some credits, and a little hologram there, which certificate of authenticity, I guess. A bit like the old Nintendo games when they had a little hologram sticker on. Pretty nice, very good idea. Same on that side, it's like smoky effect going around on the back of the design. Nice black box. Assassin's Creed Black Flag logo on the top there. Again, spot UV, and there's actually a spot UV logo behind it, and you can only see it if you turn it towards the light. So I'm going to try and see if you can see that there, and the same on the bottom. Okay, when you open it up, there is another box inside, and when you slide it out, you've obviously got the figure in there that you can see through a panel window with some Abstergo sort of computer effect across the clear screen. You've got Edward Kenway, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It looks very much like the Abstergo graphics from the actual game, which is a really good touch. Then you turn it to the side, you've got the Black Flag artwork there. Turn around the back, you've got Edward Kenway, all his personality traits from the game and everything like that. Same on that side, nice bit of artwork up the top with the logo, and the same on the bottom. And when you unpack that box, you've got 3 different sections inside. You've got the section with the figure, you've got a section with the guns, cutlasses and coat, and then you've got a section with the hands and the stand. Overall, it's really nice packaging. I quite like the look of it. Let's just pop this guy open now and let's get a really good look at everything we get. And here he is out of the box. I've loaded him up with all the accessories that I can. I've put the guns in their actual place, and I've put the swords in his hands just so you can see those, and I've managed to futz with it a little bit. I've got the clothes all sort of on as best I can for the moment, but some really nice touches to this figure that I was really surprised by. When I actually opened it up and started trying to put everything on, it was pretty cool. The hood is probably the biggest bugbear because it looks nice, but it's really fiddly and really difficult to get on there. I've just have it hanging off the back of his coat there for the moment, just because there's a lot of futzing. You've got to get it underneath the strap here and stuff. You know, I wanted to put the sort of pleathery coat on him just to give him the full look of Edward Kenway in the game. And for the most part, this is definitely a high-end figure. It looks high-end, it feels high-end, and it's got some really nice touches to it. It's got some great weathering on the clothing. The boots are pretty good. They do have double joints in the ankles, which means they can be a little loose. It gives you great articulation in the feet, but because they're a little loose, I would definitely recommend he has a stand, simply because the double jointed foot pegs in the ankles means that, you know, there's going to be a bit of movement there, and all it takes is for a big lorry to drive past your house and it'll probably wobble it enough like that, try and knock it over. And then you'll have Edward Kenway doing the eagle dive off your top shelf. Unfortunately, you probably haven't got a haystack at the bottom for him to land in, so he's just going to break apart. Okay, first off, let's take a look at the head sculpt. It's a really nice likeness to Edward Kenway. I'm not entirely sure if the nose is as prominent and bumpy as it was in the game. I do recall it being a bit wider possibly, but it is quite a prominent nose, as you can see. And the eyes are well painted. You can actually see there's no blood paint bleed on the eyelashes. There is some nice texture on the skin. Expression's really good as well. It's sort of, there is a bit of a scowl there. It's not just blank expression, which is really good. And when you actually tip the neck forward a little bit and lift the head up, and in the position I've got, it looks like he's walking with purpose, and that's really good. And of course the beard. The beard could be a little bit more well painted, I think, but it's not too bad. It does definitely represent sort of a rugged beard appearance, and the scars on the face are quite light. They are there, you can definitely see they're there, but they're not too strong. Sometimes you can overdo it with the scarring, but with this guy, definitely looks good. And the colour variation between the normal skin tone on the forehead, the cheeks and the lips blends in really nicely. If we have a look at the hair, people were saying that the hair is quite dark. Possibly, yeah. It's very likely that the hair is a bit too dark maybe, but then a lot of the colours in the game were very saturated, so everything seemed a little brighter than probably what it really would be. They were going for a bit more of a realistic take here, and they've managed to do some layering all the way through, which is really good, and that shows up really well. I hope it shows up well in the camera because it looks pretty good here. Overall, that is a really nice head sculpt. It is a shame that it doesn't look 100% like Edward Kenway off the video game, I don't think. But then maybe I'm remembering the game wrong. Okay, and here he is with the hood on. I don't think I've done it right, I don't think. I'm a little bit unsure. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go around here and under here, just like on the picture here. There's a strap going around it. I've tried futzing with it as much as I can. I've stretched it and everything. Unless you're supposed to wet it or something to try and get it formed a little more. That's the best I can do with it, I'm afraid. It's likely I'll be posing this guy without the hood, unless I can find someone else who can show me a better way of doing it. It's a really nice weathering on it. Obviously it's a white hood, so they've done a really nice sort of soft weathering to it. The fact that they've used this like a sand colour for the weathering is really good as well. It's in nicely with the theme of the game. It works really well. And the stitching, there's actually some really nice fine stitching down the back of the hood here, and there's some nice stitching around here. There is an underwire underneath this part here that works really well, and you can shape it and do what you need to do to it. And I think that will really help me a lot more when I'm actually trying to shape that and get that a little bit more formed to make it look nicer. Okay, clothing wise, you get some really nice touches to the costume. They've actually gone with a lighter blue now, like in the video game. Before on the prototype they showed a darker blue. People said to them it's too dark, and Damtoys released a little statement, I think it was on Twitter or on Facebook, saying we are listening, we heard what you said, so we're going to change the colour of the blue, which is great. They've also managed to put some pleather and some sort of plastic or rubber to make it look like he's wearing a leather vest. Again, a very nice touch. And there's some metal in there, which is why this coat here can attach quite easily, because it has two magnets here. Now, one of the problems I have with this is that the magnet still feels a little tacky to the touch. I think there's still a bit of glue there. But if either these are the magnets in here, I think they are, because they're circular, and there's a little bit of metal in here so that when it latches on around, it sticks on. But unfortunately, like it's a bit thick, this coat, I think you'd call it, I don't know, rain cover type thing. So when you put that onto his shoulders, there's a potential to fall off if it gets knocked, if it becomes unhooked. It's fine, it can just go back on again, but you've got to really futz to try and get it on there properly. But there's some nice wiring throughout all these outside trims so that it can be shaped any way you want. So you can go for the windswept look, or you can get it so it hangs a bit more naturally around the back like that, which is really good. Even up here on this part, you've got the wires going all the way through. Only place I don't seem to have it is here, which would have been a nice touch, because if you could have wire there, bend it round properly and it would make it sit on his shoulders just a little bit easier without having to let the magnets do all the work. But Again, super fine stitching all the way through, some nice buckles there, some great weathering all the way around the outside. There's darker pleather and lighter pleather paint in there, so it makes it look worn and weary. Some nice little tiny studs. Wish they'd included a few more of those in case one of these falls off, but I guess because it's a bit old and frayed, or it's meant to look a bit old, I think if a couple fell off, it wouldn't be that bad. It'd probably still look part and parcel of the character. But that's a really nice touch. I'm going to pose him with this on because it's a really nice accompaniment. Okay, I think I'm going to go hands-free Gonzo style for the next bit. Now, in order to do that, I've got to swap from this camera to my iPhone. I noticed last time I did that there was a drop-in sound because the microphone on my phone is not as good as the microphone on this camera. So apologies, but there probably will be a bit of a sound drop once we switch over to the iPhone. Okay, so I managed to hook up a mic to the actual phone. Hopefully that will help a little bit with the sound and audio. But we're just going to have a quick look around at the actual costume. As you can see that they've used a nice lighter blue, and it's almost like a suede feeling fabric. You come in, you can actually see some really nice stitching in there. And they've got lovely weathering right on the end of the tips here. Some dry brushing. You've got this nice red sash, and under this white light it does pop up white red. Come around, we can see the gauntlets on the arms. That's really nice, and they've given it a nice pleather effect with some weathering and some studs. Come down, you can see the hands, and this is the bit that's really cool. Is on the back here you can see all this belts and stuff, and he's got some pleather pouches here, and they're real pleather, which is really nice. And he's got his guns inside the pouches here. I'm going to show you one of these guns that he's holding there because it's pretty good. But as you can see on the back of this one, there is variants in the handles. This one's got sort of like a dragon motif, or wolf, I think it's dragon actually. And then this one's got like a, don't know, some sort of head sculpt in there, sort of like a face with the ring through the nose, make it look quite cool. If we come across, we can see got that nice billowing cuff there. If we come down to the gauntlets, so now I'm going to zoom in because these are really nice, these wrist gauntlets. You see it's got the Assassin's Creed logo on there, it's got the skull, it's got some of the workings in there. The paint app is really clean, the sort of gold and silver work really well together, and that blade actually does push out. It's difficult to get it out, especially with the hands the way they are at the moment, but it's very flexible. It's a bit flimsy, to be honest, but you can actually use your fingers to push this bit down, and then once you get enough of it you can pull it out. But it is a little bit flimsy, so be careful of that when you're using them, because I think on this one the tip is a little bit less, there's a bit missing there, because as I was pulling it out it sort of fell off, so be careful of that. And as you come across, you can see there is some belt, there's a belt underneath here, and there's actually weathering on the belt and fading in the buckles, which is a really nice touch. And the chest strap that holds the two guns there, really nice motif of the skull there with sort of compass pointing bits. That looks awesome. It's very screen accurate. You can see because this was actually a render from a video game, they've probably got 3D models sent from Ubisoft to have a look at. Maybe even use some to do some 3D printing. As we come down we can see these boots are really nice. Very nice weathering in the boots actually. And they have very nice pleather effect. But these are separate. The feet and this top half are separate, so that there's more articulation in the feet. And it's good, but again, because of the double ball joints, they can be a tad loose. Not a lot, but a little bit. You can see the trousers underneath have a nice seam and hem. Again, fully weathered. And one of the really nice touches about this costume, this part here, there's actually wires in the bottom of this. So you can turn it so that if you were going to do an action pose, you could turn this in a way that actually helps improve the movement, or the appearance of movement, when you put him in an action pose. And look at that, those little buckles there, fine stitching all the way here, and it's not too thick. I think would be a big worry for this figure, all the different layers being too thick. But they've got a really nice thin mesh undershirt here. It's a little bit stretchy, so it allows for a bit more articulation, and you get about a 90-degree bend in the arms, and the shoulders go up to about, well, shoulder height really. Hands wise, he comes with 2 relaxed hands, 2 fisted hands, 2 fully open hands, 2 gun trigger hands for his pistols, and then of course you've got these 2 hands which are like sword gripping hands, which aren't that good because there's a slight issue with the small thumb not actually gripping onto the swords very well, but here are the swords and these are fantastic. These are some of the nicest detailed swords I've seen on a 1/6 scale figure so far. I know there's probably better ones out there, but none in my collection. As you can see, there's nice little sort of wing motif with the Assassin's logo behind it, and you've got like that wrist, the finger guard there with an eagle sort of on the side. Looks like some nice bindings there, some lovely details on the hilt right on the end there, and some details on the blade, really intricate, and then it goes all the way along. Has almost like a really nice curve there, and it's well painted. There's sort of like a silver and a slightly darker silver, and they're mixed together to give it a really nice metal effect. They are plastic, but they are really good. And then you've got this more classic swashbuckling sword with this nice handguard with a nice swirl motif, so almost Art Nouveau style, with a sort of like a brass paint style to it. Beautiful. And then of course we've got the guns, and these guns are absolutely great. There's no moving parts to them, unfortunately. They are really detailed, and you can see there's like a dragon head there. There's 2 of these, so they look like they're part of a set. And if you come in, you can actually see on the actual top of the barrel, there's some lettering there on the right here by my thumb. As you come up, you can actually see the Assassin's logo on there. Really nice weathering, very clean paint apps mostly. I've got no complaints about that, that's lovely. And then of course there's the smaller one, there's a double set of these, and this is the smaller version. And again, no moving parts, but very nice touches to it with the end of it here with a face on it. Looks like it's got a ring through its nose. Great style, so intricately designed. Beautiful. Like, I really like this figure. It looks good, it feels like a premium figure, and that's what you want when you pay this sort of money. I'm very glad I was able to pick this guy up in the end. A couple of little nitpicks are that the magnets in the cape can be a little bit tacky, and it's a little bit difficult to keep the cape on there and the hood resting over the top. Plus also the ankles can be a tad loose, but all in all, this is a solid release from Damtoys, and if this is what they did for Edward Kenway, I think Ezio fans are gonna be really excited for what they do with him. There's a good possibility that these guys could actually outdo Hot Toys. So I'll be looking forward to see what they can do with that guy. This is my Assassin's Creed figure. This is the guy that I wanted in my collection, and I'm so glad I have. I've included some bits from my Jack Sparrow diorama in there in case you're wondering what all these extra bits are suddenly. But yeah, he's a real solid release, and you can get some really nice posing out of him. He's got some really nice accessories and everything. Okay guys, this guy is going to get a solid 8.5 out of 10. He's a real quality release by Damtoys. It's damn near Hot Toys level. There's so many little bits on this that are just amazing, from the costume to the accessories. He's a real top release. Okay guys, that's it. Like and subscribe, and if you could do me a favor now, if you could get the fuck out of my cave, yar.